So I said to this horse, I said, why the long face? And all it could say was, you're going to say, Leggy, quit the stupid jokes and get on with a serious fragrance review. I don't know how to do a serious fragrance review, but know how to give you a massive warm welcome to a John Legg fragrance review. I'm a crazy random guy with a massive fragrance collection and a passion. My aim is to pass that passion on to you so that you are inspired, not to go talking to horses, but that you are inspired to wear a good fragrance every day. Right, story behind this one. This isn't my fragrance. I have borrowed it / sort of pinched it from my line manager at work. Okay. Now, I was in his office recently and we was chatting about different things and I saw this and I was like, any chance I can borrow that? And he went, well, I've hardly used it, Leggy. And I went, all right, okay. Anyway, he disappeared and I nicked it anyway. Anyway, he did tell me, as I nicked it from him, because he did sort of see me take it, he said, Leggy, this is steeped in history. Do your history, son, and you will find out why there's a horse poking out the top. So I have. I've researched it. And I've got to be honest, I don't normally talk about the packaging, but to be fair, when I first saw it, you know what it reminded me of? It looked like a horse coming out of a zero Coke can. How simple is that? Alright, you know what I mean? I think that's where they got the design from. Anyway, it's not a zero Coke can. This horse, apparently, as legend would have it, is Alexander the Great's horse. I mean, to me, it kind of looks like a plastic geometrical kind of horse. Big word, geometrical. Okay, mounted on a funny red bottle. Look at that. I've actually discussed the presentation with you. Don't ever say I don't talk about bottles. But that is this bottle. Okay, it is made by Armaf, and I'm trying everything to avoid having to say the name of this fragrance. It begins with a B. Okay, I'll have a go. It looks like, although it may be nothing like, BUCEPHALUS. Alright, I haven't got a clue. Let me see if I can focus it and you can make your own mind up as to how you say it. Look at that. A lot of letters, a lot of sort of calligraphy writing. And it is the version of XI, which I think is something like 11. Okay, now, my bosso man at work was quite right. This is steeped in history. Forget the bottle, because that looks like Diet Coke. That is Alexander the Great's horse. Or at least it is a depiction of. So let's do the history, because the history, alright, to some people history is just one thing after another, but to be honest, history is so exciting. I'm going to try and make it exciting anyway. So, Alexander the Great. What do we know about Alexander the Great? Well, first of all, imagine having a name, Alexander the Great. What a title! That is awesome. I don't know of anyone else in history. I mean, we've got a king here in England, Charles. He's a nice old boy, but he's called Charles the Third. I mean, the Third and the Great. I think I know which one he'd prefer. Imagine that, Charles the Great. But Charles III, it ain't the same. Anyway, so Alexander the Great had the most amazing title in history. And he was a Greek. Now, the only thing I know about Greeks is they don't do the washing up, right? They don't wash stuff up after they've had a meal. They just chuck the plates on the floor and smash it and then get new ones. I mean, to me, that's a bit of an environmental disaster waiting to happen, but that's the only thing I know about Greeks. The other thing I know about Greeks is Alexander the Great was a Greek. And he came from Greece straight after they'd had a meal, smashed the plates and thought, right, I'm going to conquer the world. And to be fair, the old boy, by the time he was about 32, 33, he had conquered the whole of the world. And how did he do it? On the horse. Oh yes, this exact same horse, black horse. Okay, the horse was how he got across. I mean, he didn't have tanks and all that sort of stuff. He couldn't catch the bus. He used this horse. And I guess that name, which I can't say because I ain't going to have teeth in my mouth, that name is probably the name of the horse. Google it. I don't know. Ask my boss, so he knows all about this. Anyway, so this horse was the means of Alexander the Great conquering the world, and he went through the different countries. And to be fair to the old boy, when he conquered a country, instead of just flattening it and wiping it out, he said, you know what, I quite like the culture here. And he spent a bit of time there, got into the culture, and then he said, you know what, I've had enough of this country, I've got to conquer the next. And to be fair, the old boy just swept across the world, conquering and to conquer. Took every single land, and he got as far as sort of, I think, about India, and he was like, okay, you know what, I've conquered everything. And he drunk himself to death at the age of about 33. I mean, what a way to go. The old boy, he was on top of his game, and he just drank too much, and he was bored stiff because he got nothing else to conquer. Now the lesson of that story is, if you're going to conquer the world, have another hobby as well. Alright, okay, enough of the history legging. Let's do a serious fragrance review. The first thing I've got to do is I've got to get the horse off the top of this Coke can. I mean, this lovely red bottle. I've got to spray it for you, and I've got to try and describe the fragrance to you. That's what we do on fragrance reviews, not all the history. That was just an aside, just to get you ready to launch into this amazing fragrance. Did I say amazing? Right, stay there, pause. Horse off. Where should we put the horse? Tell you what, where should we put the horse? Should we put it on its rightful place on the Diet Coke can? Sorry, the Zero Coke can. So there we go, horseless. Let's spray it. I don't normally talk about the sprayers, but here's the thing. It's got such a short travel, you literally just get little... So you have to spray it about 4 or 5 times before you actually smell anything. It is literally probably one of the worst sprayers I've ever come across. Okay. Horse back on bottle. What can I tell you about this fragrance? It smells, try to stay with me on this one, it smells like a distant, very synthetic, kind of watered down with amber, although you can't water something with amber, but you know what I mean, amber all over it, Creed Aventus. Right, it is a Creed Aventus style fragrance. I guess it's trying to clone Creed Aventus, because as soon as I sprayed it I was like, Creed Aventus, but it's Creed Aventus done in the cheapest, nastiest, syntheticist, if that's a word, it is now because I've used it on Tinternet, syntheticist version of Creed Aventus. It's got the woods, it's got the sort of jasmine, it's got the oak moss, there's quite a bit of oak moss, it's got the sort of fruity opening. But honestly, whereas Club de Nuit by Armaf, for me, is Creed Aventus, the original EDT, the original formulation, we're going back many, many, many years. This is kind of like someone's tried in their own backyard to make Creed Aventus out of various cleaning products, and they've come up with something which is unmistakably trying to be Creed Aventus, but it's really, really plasticky, synthetic and cheap smelling. Now, Armaf don't smell cheap. I mean, something like Club de Nuit Intense Man, that's amazing. Club de Nuit Man, forget the intense, that's amazing. Club de Nuit Untold, I mean, that blew me away, and it still does every time I wear it. But this, I'm trying to... Alright, okay, here's the thing. I'm going to try and describe this for you, and tell me you haven't done this. You know when you get into someone's car and they've got an air freshener hanging from the interior mirror, and it says on there, smells like Creed Aventus. And they're so, oh man, yeah, Creed Aventus, man. It isn't really Creed Aventus, it's like a real synthetic, cheap, nasty version of Creed Aventus, but they're so chuffed and you go, oh yeah, that's Creed Aventus. That's what this is. This is like a car air freshener that says it smells like Creed Aventus. Alright. For the first I've worn it a lot. Don't tell my boss, man. He thinks I'm just going to do the review. I can't just review it without wearing it. All right, he's a nice guy. He really is a nice guy, and he's cutting me a bit of slack on this one. I keep having to go back to smell it because I can't quite believe how synthetic it is. And I keep thinking, maybe I'm sort of being a bit harsh on this fragrance. Maybe I should say, you know what, it is Creed Aventus. It is the Creed Aventus vibe and smell, but it's done in a real cheap, nasty kind of way. That lasts for about 35 to 40 minutes. And after that time, the whole Creed Aventus vibe sort of disappears and it leaves an amber smell. And at first I was going to say it's a bit like Invictus Victory, that sort of rich, sweet amber. But once again, the dry down, I think I prefer the dry down to the sort of initial sort of 35 minutes. I think I prefer the dry down. But even the dry down smells like sweet, synthetic amber. Alright, there is nothing about this that smells at all quality. And I'm not knocking Armaf in general, I'm saying Armaf normally get it spot on. But this horse, whatever it's called, Buki, Choo Moose, whatever it is, this horse kind of fragrance, I don't know. I'm going to give it back to my bosso and I hope he enjoys it. Now, okay, it's the 100ml. It is the Eau de Parfum, which is one of the few things I can read on this bottle. I'm so chuffed about that. Okay, it is the 100ml. It is the Eau de Parfum Performance. You know what? Annoyingly, it goes on for quite a long time. I am getting around about 4.5 hours of being able to smell it as a wearer. In fact, because I'm not that keen on this smell, it annoys me the fact that it does go on a long time. And I've had a shower and it's still there as a skin scent. Skin scent, it's sort of there the next day. If you're going to wear it the one day, it'll definitely be there the next day. It sticks to clothes quite well. And I say, as you're wearing it, for the first, I'm going to say about hour and a half, it sort of does radiate off you, project off you gently, and it trails off you and people around you smell it. And I've got to be honest, nobody has said anything while I've been wearing it. They're probably just thinking, I think he thinks he's wearing Creed Aventus, but it ain't. Alright, okay, that's probably what they're thinking. At least they kept it to themselves. Alright, for the first hour and a half, this does project, radiate off you quite nicely. And then it dips down, and pretty much it's quite an intimate sort of skin scent after the hour and a half, for up to about 4.5, maybe 5 hours. But you, the wearer, you know what, it can be much later in the day, and you just warm up a little bit, and the old horse is off again. Now, can I give you any more information? Alright, what about the price? Now, he got it, I think he bought it on eBay for about £17. And I would say, honestly, hand on heart, for the performance and for the fact that it's a Creed Aventus wannabe in a very synthetic-y cheap way, £17 is almost okay. But I think the actual retail price is more between 25 and 30 British pounds. You know what? I would not. I wouldn't spend it. Okay, honestly, would I recommend it? I can't really, because it is just so synthetic-y, cheap and nasty. Alright, if you want it as an air freshener, if you're going to spray it on the seats of your car or spray it around your house or whatever, it's okay. That's what you'd expect for an air freshener. It's not got the depth and the niceness. But as a fragrance, I don't know. I think the only good thing is the fact that it's related to Alexander the Great. That's the only good thing about this fragrance. Alright, I appreciate you coming to this review. I appreciate you putting up with my stupid stories, my ridiculous sense of humour, and I really appreciate the fact that you're going, you know what, Leggy, put up with all of that for the fact that you have got a passion, the fact that your heart beats for fragrance, the fact that you're actually bothering to share fragrance and desperately trying to inspire everyone, especially you, you watching this video, I'm trying to inspire you to wear a fragrance, whichever one you've got. You know, I'm not really that fussed which fragrance you wear, but spray it. I'm really fussed if you don't spray it. That bugs me, that does. If you've got a wardrobe full of fragrances and you go, oh, I only wear them certain times, I only wear it for date nights. Man, wear a fragrance every day. You know, there's so many cheap, good fragrances you can afford to spray all day, every day. All right, what an outro. Right, thank you ever so much. I really appreciate the fact that you're going to go leggy. I'm just going to give you a thumbs up so you shut up. Yeah, as soon as you thumb me up, I'll shut up. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye now. So, 2 things before I go. Please stay safe and please wear a fragrance. Choose a good fragrance and spray, 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 spray. And I'd love to see you. I would love to see you at the next review. So please stay safe and I'll see you at the next review. Goodbye.